Going on, freight dispatchers and owner operators? This is your favorite freight dispatch trainer, Antoine West, back at you guys with another video. If you haven't, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Go visit my website, antoinewest.biz, for all your latest and greatest freight dispatch training needs. But in today's video, I got some breaking news for you guys. So the FMCSA just changed its rules to deter broker fraud and abuse. So if you guys been around the trucking industry anytime at all, I'm sure that you heard about how freight brokers many times, certain freight brokerage companies are not paying owner operators. So an owner operator will haul a load for a freight broker. That owner operator would drop off that load and do exactly everything like they're supposed to do. But then what happens is, in the days and weeks after that owner operator drops off the load, the broker never pays the owner operator for hauling that load. So that owner operator moves their truck and hundreds, maybe thousands of miles, and then drops off the load, burns fuel, puts wear and tear on their truck, and they never get paid for it. So why this is happening is because so many of these brokers, they have what's called a BMC 85. All brokers have to have BMC 85s. It's basically a broker surety bond, right? It insures their business up to $75,000. So that basically means if brokers don't pay owner operators, let's say the load is worth $5,000, that comes out of the $75,000 surety bond that brokers have, and they get insured through a company. So when you start a brokerage company, you're going to have to pay a surety bond fee, right? And you're going to have to sign up with the company. You're going to have to pay a fee, and then you're going to have to pay an annual fee every year after that, and you have $75,000 worth of insurance or in your surety bond. And that fee that brokers pay is based off their credit worthiness, and it's anywhere from about $6,000 to $10,000, and that gives them that $75,000 of surety bond. So if that broker comes to the point where they don't pay a carrier can file on their surety bond and get that money from their surety bond. But what so many brokers have done, they have exhausted all of that $75,000 in their surety bond, and when carriers file on their surety bond, it's nothing there. So this is something that has become rampant within the trucking industry, and now the FMCSA has just released some new laws regarding this to implement a solution so we can start having a change. So I'm going to go over these laws with you guys, and it's 5 points that the FMCSA hits on, and I'm going to go over all 5 of them with you right now. So we're going to get right on into the article here. So the title, FMCSA increases standards to deter broker fraud and abuse. A new regulation from the FMCSA might make it simpler for truckers to gain the recompense they are entitled to from brokers. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration has established a new regulation to improve the safeguarding of trucking firms against brokers who fail to pay the monies they are liable for. This year, a regulation was proposed and confirmed on Wednesday, which modifies the rules regulating to brokers and freight forwarders' responsibility. The FMCSA declared the ultimate regulation would bring advantages to motor carriers due to a reduction in claims against brokers that remain unsettled. Right? So this rule goes into effect January 16 of 2024. So, 1. Accessible resources. The regulation dictates brokers and freight forwarders trust funds must be furnished with cash, treasury bonds, and irrevocable letters of credit that are sanctioned by a federal issued depository institution in order to remunerate carriers for their claims, right? The FMCSA has concluded that these assets are suitable to be used as they remain consistent in worth and can be sold within 7 days of an event that incurs a payment from the trust fund as indicated by the agency. So what this is the BMC 85, the broker surety bond. So what this accessible resources is saying basically is that the broker must have a surety bond that is approved by the FMCSA with that $75,000 in it there, and that assets must be basically liquid, be able to be liquidated in 7 days of an event that requires payment from the trust, right? So the brokers basically have to have a surety bond. 2, prompt termination of broker authorization to function. If the available financial security of the broker or freight forwarder drops below $75,000, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration may suspend their registration for operating authority. The agency stated that a broker or freight forwarder's financial security could be less than the minimum $75,000 if they agreed to be drawn down. Neglect to answer a legitimate notification of demand from the surety or trust provider, or if a claim against the broker or freight forwarder is dictated in court. So basically what this is saying, that broker's authority could be terminated, right? So in the past, brokers could slip below the $75,000 in their surety bond and still operate. But with this new law, it's saying if it drops below that $75,000 and brokers don't replenish that surety bond, that their authority to operate from the FMCSA could be revoked. So brokers' whole entire authority could be shut down now. So these brokers aren't going to be able to just continue to post loads on the load board when they know they're not going to pay owner operators their money. So this seems like a good thing to me. It's actually a good thing that the FMCSA is doing now. So next we got 3, the obligations concerning confidence and trust in the event of broker's collapse or bankruptcy. Surety providers or financial institutions might cite the bankruptcy of the broker or freight forwarder as a cause for annulling a surety bond or BMC 85 trust agreement when they have either paid against the bond or trust fund or anticipating making a payment after combining multiple complaints. So what this is basically saying is that if the surety bond provider finds out that the broker is going through financial issues, that the surety bond provider has to report that to the FMCSA. So now, even before they default on their surety bond, if the surety bond provider even thinks or even finds out about any financial issues with the freight broker, they're required to report that to the FMCSA. Number 4, the regulating body. The enforcement of regulations and rules is the responsibility of a regulatory body. This governing entity is in charge of overseeing the execution of particular statutes. So basically that's the FMCSA there. So the FMCSA is the regulatory body over these new laws. 5, organizations that are eligible to furnish trust funds for BMC 85 filings. The FMCSA is taking loan and finance businesses off the roster of possible BMC 85 trustees. So before this new law came out, brokers could take a loan out to pay back their surety bond, right? They could take a loan from just a normal loan company to pay back their surety bond. So from here on out, with this new law going into effect, that's not going to be allowed. Brokers cannot take a loan out to repay their surety bond. All this money has to come from their surety bond provider, right? Because they're authorized by the government, by the FMCSA. So all this seems good to me, because what I realize is going on now, if owner operators are burning fuel and putting wear and tear on their truck and not getting paid for it, so that's a lot of money that owner operators are losing out on, that they're not being able to reinvest into their money, into their business monthly. So I would imagine there's millions of dollars out there unpaid. I would like to know an estimate of how much money goes unpaid to carriers from freight brokers annually. I want to know how much money that is every year. I'm sure it's in the millions, and I'm sure it's a lot of owner operators out there that could use it. But if you guys like this video, make sure you like, share, and comment. Also, let me know if you guys need anything concerning freight dispatch training. Just go to my website, antoinewest.biz. Thank you for watching this video.